All right, everybody, what's going on? I'll tell you what's going on. I know what's going on quite well, and unfortunately, the things that are going on right now are not the things that I was hoping for. So it's halftime in the Seahawks Texans game, and that game's going fine. That game's going okay. I'll talk about that later when the game's actually over and I have full context to place it into. But I'm not here for this video to talk about the Seahawks. I'm here to sneak away during halftime to talk about the other game. The other game that happened earlier today that just wrapped up like maybe a half an hour ago. And yeah. So, yeah, we got to talk about these Mariners here a little bit. Again, like I said, I wanted to give, at the very least, a close to raw reaction right after the game ended. And here it is. Be right back. All right, guys, let's take a minute so I can tell you guys about Sleeper. I'll tell you a little secret as well. It's more than just a platform for fantasy leagues. This year, millions of users have enjoyed playing fantasy sports on Sleeper, but there's so much more to it. You have live stats, real-time updates of all stats. You have a news feed with lightning-fast updates on players and teams, and a real-time chat where you can engage with other users about plays, performances, games, all kinds of stuff during the sports season. So download Sleeper, experience it for yourself, and don't forget to use my promo code SBN to get up to a $100 match on your first deposit, and pair that with their new promo that will give you a free $20 entry, no deposit needed. So you can use both of those promos. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states and going. So check out Sleeper today and use those promos. All right, so I mean, you guys know it's not like I'm informing anybody for the first time here, but Blue Jays win 4-3. Seattle leads most of the game. They lead 3-1 for the first 6 innings, first 6.5 innings, and then they blow it in the 7th. Bullpen can't keep it, and it is the furthest that a Seattle Mariners team has ever gone, but it still ends shy of the World Series by 1 game. So Toronto, they're playing the Dodgers next, and I know that it kind of felt like this series was a series to determine who gets sacrificed to the LA Dodger gods. I understand that. Still wanted to win. Still would have been nice to finally get to the World Series for the first time ever, and it didn't happen. So let's talk about it for a few minutes here. So, look, to boil down a season of over 170 games down to 1 game in a sport like this is not really a good productive use of time. Even boiling it down to a 7-game series, which is what we just did, right? We just played Toronto in a 7-game series. You're not going to get a good picture of what a team is from a 7-game series in a sport like baseball, but looking at this series, it does feel a little bit of it does feel like a little bit of a microcosm. And this game, Seattle had several opportunities in the first 6 innings of this game, 7 innings of this game to add on, to build up a bigger lead, to get at least 5 runs across. They had second and third with 1 out. They had, I think, first and second with 1 out at one point, and they didn't score with either of those opportunities. The only opportunity they took advantage of the whole game was in that first inning, where Julio leads off with a double and Naylor gets him home. Other than that, they did a very poor job cashing in on their opportunities to scratch runs across. Everything after that was a solo shot. So that is kind of what this team is, though. And it makes sense that your season ends because of that flaw. Like, when you have a sports team and you realize that team is very good, but they also have a noticeable and undeniable flaw, there's definitely a part of you that just expects that flaw to be the reason why they don't win the championship. And it kind of feels like that's what happened here. Even yesterday, they had the bases loaded twice and they hit into double plays in back-to-back innings. And they only lost that game by 4. They have a really good chance of winning that game if they do even a little bit with those 2 really good opportunities. So there's that. Obviously, look, the pitching was not great this year. So it also, in its own way, kind of makes sense that you would have a series like this where the pitching collectively, like if you look at the 7 games in totality that we played against Toronto, the pitching as a whole was pretty bad, especially the starters. Can't really say that's why we lost this game, though. Kirby pitched great. Kirby did his job. Wu did his job for 2 innings, and then things get away from you. But even then, it's like, yeah, the Mariners' bullpen has been good this year, but you've known that it was thin. And you also knew that when push came to shove, there were only a few guys that you really could trust. And felt like we needed one more guy. Like going back to even yesterday's game. You know, yeah, yesterday's game, you pitched Bizzardo for 2 innings for some reason, and it didn't really make sense why at the time, but regardless of the reason why you did it, and then you get here, and it's like, well, okay, we're putting Bizzardo out there when his arm is probably not 100%, well shy of 100%, and he gives up the meatball to end all meatballs to Springer that ends up deciding the game. And look, there's going to be a lot that gets said this offseason about the way that 7th inning was managed. Some people are going to say Wu should have been pulled before that inning started, which maybe. Some people are going to say they should have put in Munoz instead of Bizzardo, which, okay. You know, I'm not against any of that. They're going to say that maybe they should have done this instead of that or that instead of this. A lot of heat's going to come back on Dan Wilson. I don't have a problem with that. What I will say, though, is execute. Like, Brian Wu's been an ace pitcher all season long. How about you execute against the 7 and 8 hitters? How about you don't walk the leadoff hitter? Oh, I can't remember. It's not Clement. It's the guy who bats after Clement. Like, execute. Don't walk him. Don't throw that terrible 0-2 pitch to IKF. That's an atrocious pitch to throw a guy in an 0-2 count. Really shouldn't be seeing that. And if Wu was gassed, then okay, I get it, but why is he gassed, right? He's a starting pitcher. He can throw more than 2 innings in a game. I feel pretty confident about that. So the players need to execute. And even in the case of Bizzardo, maybe Bizzardo shouldn't be out there, but how about you don't throw a complete meatball to George Springer when you have first base open? And I know that treating first base as being open brings its own set of problems, but sure wish they did in hindsight. So you got to have some heat for the players too, man. And yeah, too many strikeouts. This team in general strikes out too much. That's kind of how they're built. And you get the result that you get. You get a really, really fun season. This was a great season. I'm proud of them. It was as close as we've ever been to the World Series, but the reasons why this team wasn't great this year, the reasons why this team didn't run away with the American League in the regular season, I think you saw a lot of those reasons come back and bite them in this series. Like, the starting rotation was not good this year. The bullpen was good, but it was thin. And they don't hit with runners in scoring position at a high enough percentage. They just don't. Okay, I'm going to go watch the second half now. I'm going to go and get this video up and then go watch the second half. It's not fun right now, man. It's not fun. This is not pleasant. I'm not sure what to say about the future, but the present, this hurts. This hurts. You were right there too. You were right there. Like the other 3 games you played Toronto, they kind of jumped on you early and they blew you out. And it was like, okay, well, sometimes you get your butt kicked. This game, it felt like you were right there. And you were. You were 3-1 in the 7th inning. Bottom of the 7th, it was 3-1. You had 7, 8, 9 coming up for Brian Wu. It felt like, okay, we get through this. And then the 8th inning, I don't know what we're going to do, but you've got all your options open. You can go Castillo. You can go Miller. You can go I guess Bizzardo. You can go Munoz. You can go any way you want to go. But you'll walk the 7-hitter, give up a base hit to the 8-hitter, 9-hitter bunts him over, and there you go. Okay. It hurts, man. It hurts, but I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not distraught like I thought I might be. And I don't know why that is, but I'm not. All right. Go Hawks. Go Mariners. But that'll do it for the 2025 season.